Okay, g'day everybody. Charles Myssy over here, up at Bungjalung country. What a cracker spot we got here at TGOM 2025. I'm with my brother Marcelo. Marcelo, how you doing, bros?
I'm good, brother. Thank you.
Thank
you. Thanks for the intro, man.
All good, brother. What a beautiful evening it is, huh?
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. I'm so happy to be here, man.
Yeah, me too. It's a quite an interesting experience, isn't it?
Yeah, because both of our first time.
Yeah, it's your first time too.
Yeah, for my first time.
Yeah, straight
Yeah,
up.
it was like an experience, and I mean, it's the third day. Of it, and,
third day, day 3. That's right.
Yeah, day 3, and my brain is. Yeah, it's a lot of energy, a lot of output.
Energy,
There's a lot of output and not much input.
You had a workshop today.
Yeah.
That's right. I had a workshop today too. I did a workshop today on shadow alchemy. So for those of you that don't know what that is, the shadow is just like a term used to describe the unconscious parts of ourselves that when unrefined, they can manifest in our lives in really disempowering ways. And I've drawn a lot of influence from people like Carl Jung, and I consider myself someone who's continuing to develop this work. And I did a workshop on that today. What did you do a workshop on, bro?
Yeah, bro. I did a workshop on health. I spoke about a couple of things. I run functional labs, blood work, all this real specific, like crazy stuff that no one wants to do. And
super important work.
Thank you, brother.
Because there's a lot of emphasis on like the inner work, spiritual work, but there also needs to be like an emphasis on like, all right, well, how do we take care of our body when we're going through these big spiritual transformations and just dealing with all the like all the stuff that's out there in the outside world, in society, and all these things that's really affecting our health in negative ways, right?
Man, 100%, man. You hit the nail on the head. So you got, and I prefaced that in my talk. I said, if you've got like unresolved traumas and bad energetics towards some things that happen to you, and you haven't dealt with them, I'm not your guy. I go, there's shadow workers here, there's Charles, there's
I'm that guy.
Yeah, it's you. Go see them, okay? I work purely on the physiological side. I look at the microbiome. I tell you how your environment is affecting your person and how also affecting the channel to spirit as well. So cleaning up all of this, the 50%, you'd be the other 50%.
Yeah, that's it.
Working together.
And we all come together and make some amazing things happen in the world.
That's it, brother.
And I think that's a mission that we're on as men, coming from our history and the sort of things that we struggled with.
Yeah.
A big part of my work, I run a workshop called Shadow Alchemy, and it's all about how can we alchemize those parts of our shadow in more empowering ways. And I know for me, there was a lot of things that I struggled with growing up in Western Sydney, low-income housing commission, fatherless home, single mother, 4 kids, dealing with a lot of things that kind of led me down the wrong path, like aggression and hanging out with the wrong crowd. And just finding a way that even though due to those circumstances, alchemizing that experience in an empowering way that I can be of service to others. And I run retreats, online courses, all revolving around shadow work. I'm currently on tour in Australia now, absolutely loving it. And yeah, bro, what about you? What's how have you sort of transformed your own unique story into what you do now?
Mate, it's a really good segue, bro.
I know how to set it up, bro.
Charles is a bit of a master. Mate, we can't sort of we're painted with the same brush here a bit.
100%.
I had a good upbringing though. That's the only difference.
You know what it is, brother? Some of our shadows go looking for chaos.
Yeah.
And that's a very, you know what, bro, after growing up in a lot of the chaos that I did, man, I had a part of me that sought out chaos too. But the sort of chaos that I was looking for was actually like, I want to go travel to like sketchy places. Like I want to go to a slum in Brazil. I want to go climb this mountain. I want to go to like the border of Afghanistan and shit, like sketchy shit like that. But yeah, talk a bit about how you were looking for chaos, man. What was going on there?
I was searching for it, mate.
What did it give you? What was it about the chaos?
It gave me more than I could ever imagine. That's for sure. So I got salamied. But look, man, my story, I shared it in the workshop today. Searching for chaos is a really good way to put it, because that's literally what I did. Went to prison for quite a number of years, served a sentence on drugs and like murder charges, and found myself sitting in there going, how the fuck did it get this bad? I didn't want to go this bad. I didn't want to push it to this level, and found myself there just in misery. And was a traumatic experience, you can say the least. I mean, there's things that you see that you wish you didn't see, you know what I mean? And I got out, formed a drug habit off the back of that from the trauma. That was a short-lived drug habit.
Because you went to prison when you were quite young, early 20s,
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, so you would have been like really influenced and like, what was it about like chasing for that chaos at that age? What do you feel like it was giving
Mate,
you?
I think I watched too many movies, bro.
Yeah, okay.
And you know what? Like, I remember watching, like, as a kid, man, Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah, bro. Orale carnal, Vatos Logos forever. Cause I'm, bro.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, talking a bit about, because you understand the area mentality, you know a lot of boys from the area. And one thing that I wanted to talk a bit about is, you know, I'm Lebanese background, I come from Western Sydney, and one thing I noticed is that a lot of these sort of self-development spaces, men's work, spiritual spaces, you know, you don't see that many brothers from the area coming down. And one thing I want to do is actually, just be perhaps someone that could, same as you, but someone that could be relatable for a lot of these brothers that did grow up in a bit of this chaos, or even did come from pretty good families that gave them lots of love, and, you know, mother and father are still together. I know there's a lot of families in the area that have good family values. They come from really conservative beliefs and things like that. And I think there's a lot of similarities in our culture for that way. But trying to invite a lot of these brothers to, get into this sort of space, because it's really helped us a lot. And, you know, I've got a lot of friends and cousins and family members that are, you know, getting into that scene, and they're quite young. They're like 18 and they're starting to get involved in petty crime and drug selling, and that's how it sort of builds. And I think for me, there was a time where I remember just getting, I remember my mates, we started off getting into fights because we were defending ourselves, and that's how I would justify it, because we would get picked on because we were a smaller school and bigger boys would come, and there was a lot of Islander boys where we grew up, and they were just like 10 times bigger than us. But then it got to a point where I think a lot of that pain that we experienced from getting into these punch-ons with these bigger boys then transferred into like some of my mates going, all right, let's actually go fuck up some other guys. And then it led to then some of my mates robbing other guys, bashing other guys, 4-on-1s. And I was like, wait a minute, this is
getting a bit out of hand.
This is getting out of hand, and I don't want to be a part of this. And that's when it sort of switched for me. But I think there's a lot of brothers out there that might get really influenced by that and go, all right, this is what I got to do to be accepted, or I got to be a macho, or to be be one of the boys. What would you just say to someone who's in that sort of way of thinking?
Well, Charles, bro, this is where it gets to you're from the area. I've seen some things. I've done some things. I think we can make an impact here, man. And like, here's the thing.
Agreed.
I want to speak to any of the brothers that are going down this road, or if you know of anyone. Like, mate, come have a chat to me. Come have a chat to Charles, because it's two ways. It's either dead or death. Dead or incarcerated. All right, that's all that happens. And I want to be able to create some sort of an impact where this sort of thing just stops fucking happening. Because how many people could we save from the trauma?
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
And to be honest, this work that we're doing is possibly the most fulfilling work that you could actually do.
Yeah.
From what I witnessed on the weekend with the breath work and, you know, the rise to the warriors, I noticed, mate. And look, I don't really care if people come after me for this comment or boys get upset, but I know criminals and I know the boys from Western Sydney and whatever, and I can say hand on heart, they're not even half the men of what I've seen here today. People who come up and show up for themselves.
That's it. And what you'll find is a lot of those personas, they're actually masks that they wear, and it's okay if, like, to the brothers listening to this, if you feel like you're one of them that felt like you had to really adopt this sort of tough guy persona or really embrace that sort of mentality, you know, it's very understandable. It's just what we do to survive. You may have come from an abusive household. You may have been in an environment where, I know for me, you know, people are carrying knives around. Fuck, I got to carry a knife. You know what I mean? It's just like as a way we adapt to feel safe. And you know, a lot of that comes from fear and insecurity, and that doesn't make you less of a man for having that fear there. It just means that you're just doing the best that you know how right now, but that doesn't need to be the life that you continue going down to feel safe. There's a safety that you can find in brotherhood that doesn't revolve around chasing chaos or needing to do things that don't really align with your heart and your values, or feeling like you need to fit a mold of a dangerous environment in some way, just to feel like you're safe and accepted and all that. And you got to adopt this really thick and hard shell.
And just on that, brother, like the whole stigma of growing up in these areas and trying to prove yourself, and clearly there's something wrong with the way that the mechanics of high school and the initiation process
Big
into
time.
adulthood is happening, right?
Big time, yeah.
And I see a greater vision, and I know we spoke last night briefly on it. How about we get in there and have a chat to these young men, and get in early and show them, hey, like this is the life you want to live. This is the road you're going to go down, and this is what's going to end up happening. Or you can come and have a look at this and see the beauty. All right. If you want to prove yourself, go prove yourself. Hey, you want to prove yourself? Get in the ring with one of the boys with the wrestling the other day.
Warrior,
bro.
There's healthy ways to channel that aggression. I struggled a lot with aggression at school. I was in anger management at school, and punching walls at home and smashing doors and lashing out at my mom and all that sort of shit. I didn't. It was actually getting into healthy forms of expression of anger that really helped me start to tap in to that part of me. And a lot of this self-development type work, that's what it's actually for. It's just here to refine your edges, but really help you activate a lot of the strengths that you already have, and help you turn some of these parts of you that might be a bit loose and kind of rampaging around in your life in more empowering ways. And I just want to also say, there are a lot of brothers in the area that I know that deep down inside, that you're more sensitive souls. You have beautiful arts. You're fucking generous guys. There's so many beautiful people in the area. I love the fucking energy of the area. There's just something about it that is a bit more rough. It's a bit more edgy, but it's a bit more raw and it's a bit more real. And what you see is what you get. And I know the brothers there, because you value that. You value that authenticity that's there and what's raw and real, that you would actually love these sort of spaces here where there's a space for you to be more raw and real about your heart. And I know that us brothers, we also struggle with things like relationships, like any other man would anywhere else, and trying to deal with things like breakups, relationships. Maybe you've seen stuff in your family that wasn't the best representation, or maybe you got a beautiful representation of love with your family, but you kind of grew up in a different society and culture that didn't really replicate that. And it kind of contradicts, because your family comes from a different culture than what you were born into here in Australia. And I think that's another big divide that I personally struggled with over here. So, and another thing as well, there's one thing that to a lot of the brothers in the area that I'll say, especially brothers of color or Lebanese brothers, I know coming to these sort of spaces can feel a bit intimidating, because you might feel like you're the only Lebanese guy here or brother of color here. And I know it can be really intimidating, because even for me, growing up in the days of Cronulla riots and things like that, I was a young boy, and it really did affect me in a lot of ways, where I felt like, oh, maybe I don't belong. I stand out too much. I'm too brown. My nose is too fucking big. They'll spot me too easily, and they don't like who I am. And that might be there in the back of your head, and you might not feel like these sort of spaces will be welcoming and open for you. But you know what? From my experience, it's not like that at all. And even if there is a thought from anyone here in the back of their head that has a level of discomfort because I'm the first brother of color or Lebanese guy they ever fucking met in their life, it offers just a beautiful connection and union between so many parts of Australian society that need to bridge that gap more. And this is the place to do it. It's not fucking doing drugs or getting into punch-ons or whatever. This is actually a really beautiful place where we can connect super authentically and bridge those gaps, and just create a national brotherhood that's here that can extend outwardly around the world.
Well said, man.
Orale, carnal.